the leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started.
You are listening live to the Vito and Vito Show. Disrespectful to the executive branch.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
Don't sign the damn deal, and the president won't.
Therefore, I do not believe that the majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him.
And we're live here on the Vito and Vito Show. I'm Vito.
And I'm Vito.
And boy, do we have a show for you. Super Tuesday coming up around the corner. GOP debate just wrapping up here, giving you some recap. I'm getting so tired of these debates, Vito. I keep saying this, but I think I'm just going to boycott the debates.
Really going to pull Donald Trump?
I'm pulling a Rand Paul.
There you go. That's really going to hurt the ratings.
I like Rand and I like Rand more than I like Trump. Is it going to hurt the ratings? I don't know, because I keep watching these debates and I keep snoozing off. It's so boring. I fall asleep when I see these guys talk. They just keep spewing the same old stuff.
I think this last debate was a little different, though. You saw Marco and Cruz really go after Trump. Rubio wasn't really a robot this time. He was just fed up. I guess he felt how you felt. I guess he decided to really just talk instead of
have highlights of the night. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Donald Trump and some of the candidates duke it out. But at the end of the day, I just want to go take a nap. Well, I want to go to bed. I'm tired of waiting for these 2, 3, 4, 5, 7-hour marathon debates. I'm just wrap it up already. Have a 30-minute talk.
A talk?
They should talk over coffee. They should have a sit down. That's what they should do. They should have a nice sit down.
Or Carson and Kasich should drop out and have a 3-man race here.
Would it shorten the debate?
Yeah. Because you get more time to talk, because you're going from Cruz to Rubio and Trump. They're going back and forth. It's really good. You're getting things going like a real debate. And then, hold on, we got to ask Carson how he feels. And I said, Kasich, can you jump in?
Oh.
Like, really? Like, really?
What are you going to do?
Carson, you have anything to say? And he even says, well, I don't have much time to talk, so let me get all this in now. And he usually plugs his website. So you can go read about it, because he doesn't have time to talk.
Because if you don't, he'll stab you in the belt buckle. I mean, this is...
That's terrible.
That is terrible. That's in his memoirs. You listen to the Vito and Vito Show. Let my co-hosts explain what you're listening to right now.
We're bringing you the perspectives of 2 college-age millennial conservative libertarians out of liberal hellhole Brooklyn, New York, where we're committed to defending the principles of free markets, freedom, and individualism. We all know punches here on the show.
No, not at all. Political correctness is not.
No, I think Donald Trump would like this.
Yeah, I This is not the political correct show for you. We're going to make fun of people. We're also going to talk about what we think is going on.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give you our insights, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that you care, because you obviously clicked on the button, so obviously you're interested somewhat, some way. So let's break it down for them here, ladies and gentlemen. Simple show here tonight. We're going to break down the GOP debate that we just saw, how it's going to impact Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday, as you know, is March 1st. So we're going to give you some predictions. There are a bunch of states up on Super Tuesday, and we're going to break them all down based on allocation type, what type of primary or caucus it is. We're going to talk about the polling. We're going to talk about who we think is going to win a lot of these states. And I think, Vito, Donald Trump has the best shot of winning the Republican nomination. Cruz is the second guy to probably, give him a challenge in terms of not reaching the required delegate amount come the convention. But at this point, the more and more these primaries come and go, the more and more I start to say Donald Trump is going to be the nominee, and it's almost inevitable.
Yeah, well, we see Super Tuesday is going to be big because after the first couple states, Iowa, Ted Cruz won Iowa, got some momentum there. But the last 3 states, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, Donald Trump won. So, we're going to see, does he have the momentum coming in? Because you got Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Georgia, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, Alaska, Wyoming.
He didn't just win. He won big.
Mm-hmm. But those are a lot of states. You can get a lot of delegates there. I think that's really going to turn, the tide for certain candidates. I can see Kasich or even Carson dropping out after Super Tuesday. You can see Donald Trump really pushing to get the nomination with the delegates without even a broken convention. You can see Ted Cruz even maybe take the lead if he wins a couple of states or be right up Trump's butt if he wins a certain states. I mean, I can see Cruz winning Texas.
But so what? It's proportional.
Right, but this is why I think Cruz is so important for Cruz to come in second and take delegates away from Trump. But then you got the problem of Rubio.
Yeah, well, Rubio, we're going to... Let's save this conversation until a little later. That's going to be the second half of the show. Right now, I want to talk about the GOP debate that we just saw. This is a pre-recorded show airing on Thursday night. So to you listening, you have probably seen the debate. You've probably heard nonstop coverage of the debate, but we're going to give you our take on it. So let's break it down, Vito. The GOP debate, you know what I think about these things. I can't stand them. They're so boring. The first 1 or 2 in the year are always exciting, and then it just gets ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why they have so many of these things. But, again, I make the case, Donald Trump, the most entertaining and guy on the stage. Ted Cruz, I think, the most insightful. And Marco Rubio, obviously, I think, won tonight. I mean, he was fierce. He didn't give a damn. He went right after Donald Trump. He was drawing lines in the sands, and he was making things go as, he was turning the tide. So when I saw Marco Rubio go after Donald Trump like he did, particularly on immigration, particularly on this notion of that Donald Trump hired illegals in building his buildings and whatever, or working in his hotels or his casinos, I thought it's a pretty interesting point. If you're a Trump supporter and you're listening to the program, I have to ask you this question. Why does that not seem like a hypocritical thing of Donald Trump? I'm not trying to say Donald Trump is the worst thing in the world. What I am trying to say is why is it that Donald Trump gets a free pass on hiring illegal immigrants, which there is recorded evidence that he has? Why did Donald Trump get the passage on him being able to export his goods and services to Mexico to build his to make his ties and his shirts and his clothing line
that I own?
Yeah,
and that he funded.
You own a Donald Trump tie?
I do.
Does your head grow bigger too as you wear the tie?
Well,
do
I start talking with my hands more, but I don't know if that's because I'm Italian or what.
Well, it might be a New York thing. So.
I see it, but also he funded the guys who wrote the Gang of 8 bill. So you see this with Rubio. You see how he funded these people. And Ted Cruz really pointed this out at the last debate, saying, you can't be 100% against illegal immigration if you funded these people. And, Donald Trump always says that he was a businessman. But, at a certain point, don't principles come in to what you throw your money at? You see, I'm completely against illegal immigration, but I'm still going to give money to these politicians who support it. I'm 100% against Planned Parenthood, but I'm still going to give money towards Planned Parenthood.
I think Donald Trump's trying to just point at the quid pro quo.
Right, I get that, but
in order of you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, politicians and big business.
Right, but how
much...
much...
is cronyism. I mean, so right off the bat, I mean, if you're arguing against cronyism from 2010...
Right, but it worked well for Trump, obviously. He made a lot of money. Everybody knows him. I do not blame him for doing that. But at what point do your principals say, when are you going to give money, when aren't you? When do you not support certain things?
I think that's the kicker, the difference between you and Donald Trump, and I would even put me in that equation. Donald Trump, is he looking at it on a principled perspective? If your argument for Donald Trump, and I'm trying to be as objective as possible, if your argument for Donald Trump is that he's a businessman, that's why he gets along with everybody. That's why he was giving money left and right out to politicians, because he was a businessman, he's trying to make deals, whatever. You're explicitly saying that Donald Trump is putting his own interests first as opposed to his moral convictions. So if that's the argument you're going to make, then you're telling me that if this guy becomes president, What is he going to put first? Is he going to put first his moral convictions, his political principles, or is he going to put forth Donald Trump? Whatever the most popular option is. On one hand, we've heard in one debate he's not going to have people dying in the streets, and he talks about socialized medicine. Then he says we're going to take away the circles on the states or the lines on the states. Him and Marco Rubio are going back and forth on that.
That's funny.
So he says they're going to allow for trade of insurance across state lines. And that's good, but what else are you going to do, Donald? What is guiding you? Ted Cruz, on the other hand, I could tell you straight up what Ted Cruz is fighting for. It's not very difficult. I mean, the senator is making it very clear that he's fighting for constitutional values. Prove to me where he's not fighting for constitutional values. Prove to me where he's not fighting for small government.
Right, and Ted Cruz has made this point, why does Donald Trump want to defund Planned Parenthood? He said that they do wonderful things, but since he's pro-life, he wants to defund them because they perform abortions. But, okay, fine, you're pro-life, you want to defund it, but what about the constitutional point? That the federal government has no business, or the philosophical. You hear this?
Philosophical. There you go.
Point that government should not be spending taxpayer dollars on these programs. I mean, he doesn't talk about this. Ted Cruz and other people, other politicians, other conservatives do talk about this. But I want more of a reason that I'm pro-life, so I'm going to defund it.
I also find it interesting that Donald Trump won't really make this point an issue in his campaign. Look, and I haven't really been that critical of Trump. I kind of like what he has to say. Particularly on the wall and Muslim immigration. But in regards to what Trump is saying on Planned Parenthood, he says it does wonderful things for women, etc., etc. But this is the same organization, the same board of directors, the same leadership of this organization that employs doctors, that employs people that sell body parts of aborted children. So before you go any further, I want you to get one thing clear, and one thing clear right now. If you support Donald Trump, you have to explain to me what's guiding this man's principles. Or lack thereof. What is Trump looking to do here? For the past 10 years, the guy's been a Democrat. You cannot tell me it does not have some type of bearing on your when you go to pull the lever for Donald Trump.
I never like when they compare that to Reagan, because Reagan was a Democrat until the mid-50s. And then 10 years later, he was a conservative governor of California, and then ran as president. This is many years after he switched, not a few years ago. Okay, not just jumping into the presidency like this. Okay, he had a record as a conservative politician.
Not to mention the outreach that Reagan did. He ran for president 3 times, by the way.
Yeah, this wasn't just all new,
all
off the cusp, But that's just with Trump with the with the Planned Parenthood. But what really gets me is that he came out and said he's neutral on Israel. Now in the debate, he said that he's the most pro-Israel guy on the stage. Mm-hmm. Listen, I do like Trump. Not my first pick, but listen, I like the guy. I like what he has to say. But what is it? Is it pro-Israel or neutral? Pick one.
Yeah, and I find it interesting, too, if you're a conservative who's quick to attack Obama for being anti-Israel, and then all of a sudden jumping on the Trump bandwagon and saying, I love Trump. Trump's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you're so pumped to hear about Donald Trump, and then this guy comes out and says that he's neutral on Palestine and Israel. Then today he says, the debate, he argues that Israel is obviously, the best thing, that he's going to do the best thing for Israel. So which one is it, Donald? I don't know. I mean, if you want to have your cake and eat it too, you want to blame Obama for Israel, which, okay, I agree with you 100% on that. Barack Obama and Israel do not get along. He's undermined that great nation. He has completely thrown Israel under the bus in favor of Muslim nations in the region. Absolutely no problem about that. But at the same time, you can't say Donald Trump wants to, he told a bunch of Jewish big shots in a room that, he doesn't need you because you got Israel's money and stuff like that. You're all lobbyists, and then because they all disagree with him, and then the next minute he comes out and he talks about how he's neutral in Israel and Palestine, and then he says that he's a big fan of Israel. So I don't know what it is with him. I don't know. He's a good talker. He's able to get around stuff, but I don't know if Donald Trump will genuinely sit there with Bibi Netanyahu and support Israel. Will he not go in with reservations for Israel? Ted Cruz said he's an what was the word he used?
Apologetic?
Thank you. Unapologetic defender of Israel. I don't blame him for that. I really don't blame him for that. I don't think anybody does. But, Donald Trump has some issues, and I think it needs to be taken into account. Another thing, too, Donald Trump, again, we said it before, makes ties in Mexico and China and Vietnam, whatever the hell he makes his ties. But then he wants to tax corporations that go to Mexico or China, a higher percentage than companies that produce in the United States. He's quick to attack those companies, but he doesn't realize that his companies are the ones that are building stuff overseas.
And since we're talking about Trump,
is hypocrisy there? And not to mention, and I really want to get into how he wants to raise taxes on hedge fund managers.
Since we're talking about Trump right now, I just want to get in how the asked him how he's going to make Mexico pay for the wall, and his answer was, "I will."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've read what he wants to do, and he wants to raise tariffs. He wants to raise the fees on visas from Mexico and stuff like that. So there are lots of things Donald Trump wants to do, and I suppose you could say there is a plan in place for him to raise some type of funds to get Mexico to pay for the wall. But Vito, at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't see, if you support free trade and the notion of capitalism going worldwide, which at the same time benefits the American consumer and the American worker, I do not see how Donald Trump putting high taxes and tariffs on Mexico and making it harder for Mexican businesses and American businesses to do business will somehow help the economy. To me, it baffles me to think this is how we're going to do things. I don't really get this connection between these two, between Donald Trump and what he wants to do.
And I love how the past Mexican presidents, they asked him about the wall, and one of the past Mexican presidents said,
"We're not going to effing pay for it."
Yeah.
That's what he said.
So I know the Mexican government's not really fond of that plan, but he said that the wall is going to be 10 feet higher now. Joking.
Yeah, I mean, and he said that before, and it's a pretty good line. All right, that's great. Ha ha ha. And I laughed and chuckled. I think we all did. That was what I mean when I say Trump is entertaining. But what is the substance? He doesn't elaborate on it. He doesn't really elaborate on his health care plan either. I was shocked. To see that. He said the government's going to take care of, in the past interviews, he said that the government's going to take care of the poor people. The government's going to pay for it, he said. Now, if you're a Trump supporter, please reconcile the fact that this man is somehow a conservative and at the same time having the government pay for all these poor people's health care.
He says, then
not to mention the talking points that he throws.
This last debate, he was saying how we're not going to let people die in the street.
Yeah,
well, how are you as the government, as the president, not going to let people die in the street?
Well, he said that Ted Cruz wants, if you want to let poor people die in the street, that's up to you, he said. That's a liberal talking point.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want people dying in the street. 1. 2, I don't really see too many people dying in the street. Okay? Literally. Okay? And stick to the facts. Your policy. That's what we're talking about. Don't go off and start pulling the heartstrings. Oh, you want people to die in the street. That's terrible. Well, what's the alternative? Socialized medicine? Obamacare forcing people to get health insurance?
And I think it's interesting, too. Also, Donald Trump wants to keep the plan on pre-existing conditions on Obamacare. So things like this just make me irk at the Donald, and I can't really see how he can be taken seriously. But at the same time, he does have a great... I think he's, like I said, the only one that can get away, with the exception of Ted Cruz, but more so Donald Trump, by building a wall. That's what his whole presidency is about, is the wall. Mm-hmm. Secondly is Muslim immigration and banning Muslim immigration. And I think if Donald Trump, like I said, can accomplish those two things, he will become a successful president.
I think so.
And the more and more these primaries keep coming out, the more and more I keep saying this guy has a bigger likelihood of becoming president of the United States.
Yes. Absolutely.
He's not just winning, he's winning big.
And we're going to see what happens after Super Tuesday, because if he continues this, he will easily get to the threshold for the nomination.
Yeah, well, is there going to be something to block his way? Is there going to be a barrier? I don't know. Ted Cruz maybe could be the guy, but I and that's another thing too. I was going to say, this is not the same election cycle that we've seen. It's not like 2012, a Newt Gingrich rails on the media, and then all of a sudden he pops up in the polls, or Rick Santorum seems like the alternative, or Michelle Bachmann. None of that seems to be the case in these debates. This is what I mean. These debates are pretty much useless. Donald Trump, I think, pretty much locked up the nomination. And Donald Trump walks in the room, and Donald Trump says what he says. The crowd boos him, whether you think lobbyists are in the crowd or not. People boo him. It looks like Donald Trump lost the debate. Like I think tonight, people are going to say he lost the debate. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to just do much better when it comes down to the actual voting in the primaries.
Because what happens?
Because it's such a different election.
If he doesn't do that great at the debate, how is that going to show in the polls and when people actually come out to vote? Because the polls don't exactly mean who's going to vote for what or for who. Donald Trump was supposed to win Iowa, and then Cruz took it, and then he did better than expected in South Carolina and Nevada. So the polls don't exactly add up to what.
Let's not forget the New Hampshire win. I think that was the most impressive win out of all. Seeing what he pulled off, like 2% of the vote was in, and Donald Trump was pronounced the winner. But Vito, save that thought. I want to come right back to talking about the rest of the candidates on the stage. Most importantly, John Kasich. No, I'm joking with you. But when we return here to the Vito and Vito Show, more GOP debate talk and Super Tuesday predictions right here on the Vito and Vito Show.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
So what is behind enemy lines anyway?
This is the true story of two friends living in the People's Republic of New York City who work together and have their conversations taped to find out what happens when conservatives stop being politically correct and start getting real. We are Behind Enemy Lines. Watch your wallets. Thursdays at 1 on WNJC, part of the Conservative Commandos radio network.
Back here to the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. We're heading to CPAC next week. So you know what that means. You know what that means. Big, awesome, conservative, libertarian superstars. Maybe we find a Democrat along the way.
They like our parties, that's why.
Yeah.
And the conservative women.
Yeah, well, nothing beats conservative women. I say it all the time. Conservative women are hotter than liberal women. I say it all the time. With the exception of Nancy Pelosi. She is drop-dead gorgeous, and I don't care what you say.
You're a sick man.
I would take her, and the things I would do are absolutely unbelievable.
You said that about Michelle Bachmann, and we got the chance to interview her last year.
And I was just starstruck. I thought it was beautiful.
I know, it was a little ridiculous.
Actually, in all seriousness, she is, how old is Michelle Bachmann?
60s?
Let's do a quick, because she does not look bad at all.
She doesn't. Nancy Pelosi looks horrifying.
No, it looks terrible.
But Michelle Bachmann's not, she kept,
Michelle Bachmann, 59 years old. 59 years old. In person, she looks very good. So a testament to her skincare regimen and her diet. Congratulations, Michelle Bachmann. like everything, she looks very good. She looks very form-fitting.
Yeah, she took care of herself.
Yeah, she's a good-looking woman for 59. Honestly, I thought when I first met her, I was like, wow, this woman's got to be 40-something years old. Seriously.
Don't worry, we told her that when we met her.
Oh, yeah. Nancy Pelosi looks like a hot iron hit her face, and she started melting at the seams. She has more hair extensions than Vito. I mean, it's absolutely embarrassing. And don't even get me started on Hillary Clinton. That's a hot mess right there. I think the hottest one though in the entire Democratic Party has to be Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
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 All right. She's got a perm going on like it's 1984. All right, let's go ahead and keep talking about this GOP debate right now. I want to talk about Marco Rubio. Everyone keeps saying this guy is going to be the next thing They keep talking about him. I got news for you. If you're an establishment politician, you're not winning if you're a Republican. It's not going to work. The Democrats, they could run whatever superdelegates they want. They can give whatever challenge they want for the nomination. But I just want to make this point about the Democrats real quick. If you look at the Democratic numbers in terms of delegate counts, Bernie Sanders, who is the liberal socialist, the communist, running on the Democratic Party side, he, in terms of raw delegate counts, is giving Hillary Clinton a very close race. Raw delegates, I believe they are tied. But once you add the superdelegates in, Hillary gets all the superdelegates, and it's it. I mean, Bernie, he doesn't have a shot because of how the Democratic Party is basically skewing the rules here. But ultimately, if you take away the superdelegates, it is a much closer race between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton.
Right, because all Bernie has to do besides get through the superdelegates is a couple coin tosses. Literally. Guys, I think I saw in the Democratic Party how corrupt and disgusting it is and how democratic their elections are.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting, but just keep that in mind. Superdelegates is probably going to help Hillary win, and it's not fair. It's not fair to Bernie. That guy's pulling off an awesome campaign. He is pulling a lot of work through for the Democratic Party, and they're screwing him out of a legitimate shot of actually taking his ideas public. Now, let's keep one thing straight. I cannot stand that man. I think he's a crazy socialist. He's out of his mind. The point that I'm trying to make is Donald Trump is on the Republican side. All these candidates have a fair shot of being heard and accumulating delegates. But the Democrats throw in these concept of superdelegates, and it is totally messed up. It skews the results, and it gives Hillary an unfair advantage. So let's keep that in mind. And just the point that I'm trying to make here in terms of being the outsiders and the establishment politician, Bernie Sanders is the outsider to Hillary Clinton as the establishment. Keep one thing clear. Bernie, in terms of raw delegate count, is giving Hillary a rock-hard fight for the nomination. Like I said, superdelegates are going to skew that. You look on the Republican side, and you look at the delegate count. Donald Trump is the outsider. Donald Trump is demolishing the field.
Right. Bernie Sanders is the outsider, with quotes, because he's been in Congress for how long? 30 years? 20-something years? He's the outsider.
Yeah, well.
Compared to Hillary, who's been in Congress since I think she was conceived.
The point that I'm trying to make is this is the year for the non-traditional politician. We all know that. Come on.
The non-traditional as in the non-politician like Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's got 82 delegates, by the way, before Super Tuesday. Ted Cruz at 17, Marco Rubio at 16, Kasich at 6, and of course the all-important Ben Carson at 4. So keep one thing very clear right now. Obviously, Super Tuesday, we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But I want to stress the importance of the outsider candidate. Everyone talking about this is not the year for the insider or the perceived insider. Marco Rubio getting the backing from establishment Republicans. He got about 11 to 12 billionaires backing his campaign. This is not the guy you want running the Republican Party right now, getting the nomination, because conservatives are going to throw him aside. They're not coming out to vote. It's going to be the most demoralizing effort I think ever seen of Marco Rubio to somehow get even close to the nomination. He won't.
But aside from the donors, the guys who support amnesty, who are giving money into Rubio, but also the endorsements. I think that's why he pulled in second in South Carolina, because he had Nikki Haley, who was very liked by conservatives until the whole Confederate flag thing. Tim Scott, and then Trey Gowdy, who, conservatives love him for going after Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. But Trey Gowdy, I don't think is this big of a conservative, because if you look at his voting record, he's not, the most conservative.
In what way?
According to his scorecard, I think with the Heritage. Trey Gowdy, he's not up there like in the 90s or the 80s. I think he was much lower. But he's very well liked because of the Benghazi scandal and the investigation he's doing. But these are well-known guys in the Republican Party who backed Rubio. I think that's why he pulled in second in South Carolina. But are you going to see those endorsements coming his way for Super Tuesday in the future?
Trey Gowdy, for the record, has an 86% rating by Conservative Review. So it's a B. Conservative Review give him a B. You look at the notion, I think, most importantly, free markets. He talks about... He voted against an amendment eliminating the federal subsidized flood insurance program. I don't know. I gotta look more into Trey Gowdy, but I see what Vito was saying. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, if you got to look at this. It's the year of the outsider. Marco Rubio, at the same time, by the way, was giving people a hard time for him attending CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. This is a big gathering of conservatives across the country. Marco Rubio giving it, it was flip-flopping on whether he would go or not. He didn't show up to the Conservative Review Conference, and I think when you look at things like that, it's the lack of outreach to the conservative base that is ultimately going to hurt Rubio. So as much as the establishment will try to coalesce around Rubio, I don't see the energy and the momentum that will drive Rubio ahead, beat Hillary, and ultimately win him the nomination in support of the Republican Party. It's impossible. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is a guy that could turn around, walk up to the podium, say what he says, fill a stadium, and get people who never voted before, people who voted for their whole lives, and people who just started to pick up politics after 10 years or a 20-year break or whatever. Donald Trump is the guy to get people back up to the polls or start getting them to the polls and energize the party in ways we've never seen. The last couple of primaries we've had record turnouts, not because of Marco Rubio, and it ain't because of Ben Carson, but it's because of Jim Gilmore. No, it's because of Donald Trump. That's the guy who's able to draw in people to the nomination, to the Republican primary process. Donald Trump. Ted Cruz, I think, also has a hand in it. Maybe not as major, but certainly a hand in it too. Because Cruz's ground game is, I think, one of the most important things in terms of this political season. He's able to get down and dirty in the South and in Iowa and parts of Nevada and stuff like that, and try to coalesce and try to get people together and try to get the message of conservatism out. Plus the role he played for conservatives, being the cheerleader against Obamacare and being a fighter against the Patriot Act with Rand Paul. I think stuff like that is very important, as that also starts this notion of energizing the base. But I think Donald Trump was able to take all the air in the room and put it in his corner, and ultimately in his head, to expand that ego of his. But you know what I mean. But ultimately, this is the thing. Marco Rubio, as much as they want to talk about him this guy has no shot in terms of delegates, and ultimately he has no shot in terms of winning any states. Marco Rubio is the only candidate, Vito, that could win. That could finish third, that could finish fourth, that could finish fifth, and still be considered a highlight candidate who's up and coming, who he's coming around. This is a shining moment. The guy finished third in Iowa, and it was like he won the freaking Olympics. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Listen, Marco Rubio's new campaign motto is first is the worst, second's the best, third's even better.
That's basically that. All right, Vito, let's go ahead and grade some of these candidates. I want to talk about Super Tuesday. Go. So how about you list some of the candidates and we'll go through some grades.
All right. Let's start off with the doctor, Ben Carson.
I forgot he was there.
Yeah, poor Ben.
I love it how when Ben Carson gets asked some questions, he always responds with, I didn't catch the first part.
He falls asleep in the corner. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him. We all share the same attitude, me and Ben, and you know. Oh, just get over with it already. I have to give him I don't know. We'll give him a D. How about that? You know,
really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what Ben Carson really stood for.
You're gonna blame him for not getting questions?
Yeah, I blame him.
Really?
He's never outspoken. Ted Cruz. No, I don't even buy that crap anymore with these candidates. There's 5 guys on the stage, 6 guys on the stage, whatever there are. 5 or 6.
5,
right, okay, whatever. So there's 5 guys on the stage. Okay, Ted Cruz didn't get a response. He didn't get a question. It was him and Marco Rubio and Donald Trump going back and forth for about a good couple of minutes. And then all of a sudden, Ted Cruz jumps in and tries to force his way into the conversation. That's how you do it. That shows me assertiveness. Ben Carson, John Kasich, they're not asserting themselves in the right way. They have terrible things to say. Both of them get Ds. I think Kasich and Carson both get Ds. The only reason Carson is in the race is to screw up with Cruz and take away votes and delegates because he thinks what happened in Iowa, when in reality, this notion that Ted Cruz stole votes away from Ben Carson is just preposterous. So ultimately it comes down to John Kasich, Ben Carson, both getting Ds in my book. These guys do nothing at these debates, although I will, John Kasich I will give a little more credit because I think he had, I wouldn't say he had a good healthcare plan, but I'm happy that he actually included details in his healthcare plan.
D+ for him? Is there a D?
No, I don't know. Give him both Ds.
Great.
I still don't like John Kasich. I have a bias. Give him a D.
What? We're supposed to be objective.
I'm not objective.
Great. I'm giving Carson a C+ and Kasich a B-.
Explain to me just why you would do that. What makes,
Because I'm not judging on one because I don't like him, and
so,
two because
please
they didn't get enough
explain
questions.
your reasoning. I would love to hear this.
Because Kasich, like you said, with the healthcare system, and when he was not that bad. He didn't do great with the question. With the amount of questions he got, I think he held his own. He wasn't that bad overall.
And
he
Ben
didn't
Carson?
shine. And Carson is consistently a C+ student.
Why?
Because he's quiet, and with the amount of questions he gets, he gives the same kind of answers, and he doesn't shine. He just answers the questions, and you're done.
So how the hell is that a C+? Give him an F. Give him a D.
He doesn't mean he fails. He's just doing enough.
I wouldn't give him a grade.
You would be a terrible professor.
He didn't
Please
show
do not
up to
get into
class.
education
He didn't
system.
even show
He
up
was
to class.
there.
I didn't feel it. Next.
Because he was sleeping.
Exactly.
How
So
about
then, there you go. He gets it.
Hey,
so, you
attendance
know what?
counts.
Demote Ben Carson to an F.
You're going to fail Ben Carson
I'll
now?
fail Ben Carson. Tell him to get the hell
Wow.
out of the race. It's ridiculous.
You're a terrible professor.
Take Ben out of the race.
You going to kick him out?
He should leave
Okay,
voluntarily.
I guess attendance doesn't count. Great.
Make him leave the debate. Ben Carson gets an F. He was absolutely horrible in tonight's debate.
All right, what about
John
Marco?
Kasich, I give a D because I thought he gave some effort. Marco Rubio.
Some effort. What about Marco?
I care a little bit about the effort. Like as a participation trophy. Marco Rubio, I got to give an A+. I hate him the more and more he talks. I cannot stand that he wants to bomb everything. I cannot stand that he wants to turn around and preserve the Patriot Act. And I also cannot stand that he wants to,
I know, we got problems with him.
have
How
this
you doing
immigration
debate?
plan where he wants to just let illegals in left and right. He wants an amnesty plan and this notion he's going to secure the border. Don't know how he's going to secure the border. He has no detailed plan, but he just says he's going to secure the border. Plus, he's a part of the Gang of Eight and he's an amnesty lover.
We get it. But the debate.
Oh yeah, right. Marco Rubio, I got to give him an A+. It's the guy. He held his own. He was able to hit Trump. I thought he hit him well. I don't know if it's going to be effective because Donald Trump is Donald Trump. I don't think nothing is going to touch him. He's a Teflon Don. We'll talk about that in a bit. But ultimately, Donald Trump is Donald Trump, and Marco Rubio, I thought, had a pretty good performance going back and forth with him, particularly over immigration, which was Trump's hot button issue. But it's not enough. I don't think it's enough, Vito, to get
Ted Cruz
to
held
affect things.
Donald Trump while Marco Rubio threw the punches. Okay? And I think Donald Trump took a beating in this debate, but the debate does not, definitely show what's going to happen with the votes. Okay, I'm giving Rubio an A. I think he did very well in this debate.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because Cruz didn't go after him. They both just focused on Trump.
Yeah, notice that a lot of the energy is focused on taking out the front runner. A lot of the energy is focused on the front runner. Yeah. Now it used to be against Cruz and Rubio, or Rubio would fight.
And Jeb and everybody
Jeb,
just
yeah. Now
mosh-pit.
It's everybody's trying to concentrate as much energy and power behind punches into Donald, hoping that they could somehow knock him off his mantle. The question is, will they?
All right, what about the Canadian?
All right, my man Ted Cruz, I'd give him an A. I'll give him an A. I thought he did okay. There were moments when he was pretty much quiet. I didn't like the quietness, but at the same time, when it was asked questions, he was able to answer them. He's very charismatic. He's very good. I love his defense of the Constitution and Scalia. I give him an A. I love Ted Cruz. He's my pick for 2016. I want him to win. I've endorsed him over and over again, and I'll say it again. I endorsed Ted Cruz for president for 2016. I just hope the math works out for him, and the voters wake up and realize that he's the best man for the job.
Well, I give him an A-. I think he lost some momentum, but wasn't getting too many questions there towards the middle and the end. I think he did good going after Trump. I think it was pretty solid. Again, mainly because Rubio wasn't going after immigration and calling him a liar. I think they really focused more on Trump, and he wasn't perfect, but he did really well. I'll give him an A-. Okay, Donald.
All right, here's a tough one. Donald Trump. I got to give him maybe a B. Not because I think he was absolutely stunning in terms of some answers. I think his witty responses are what keeps him alive. I love it how he said, Marco Rubio was saying, you employed illegal immigrants, and it was Donald Trump, or something like that. And Donald Trump comes back. We go to the line of the night when he's like, I'm the only one on the stage that actually employed people. So he's got a point. He's a businessman, and he did employ people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he struggled in terms of answering some questions when it came down to immigration and flip-flopping stances. When it came down to health care, I thought that was, pretty bad for Trump, actually. He wasn't able to answer some questions on health care. He just said that he was going to remove the circles from the states. Marco Rubio basically ran all over him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, will it affect him? I don't know, but I give him a B.
I'll give him a C. I think it was one of his worst debates yet.
Ooh. Anti-Trumper over here.
No, I'm objective. I saw the debate. Listen, I
you
like
hate
him.
Trump.
Right.
You know what? You build the wall.
Before you get me... You know what? I will.
You do it. You build the wall.
Okay.
And then we're going to in case you win it.
Right. Or vote for Ted Cruz, who also supports the wall. Who will probably get Donald Trump to build it himself. Okay, I don't think he did well in this debate. I think he got the pressure, got flanked by Rubio and Cruz. I don't think he did too well. He didn't expand on his answers. He kept repeating himself. He looked a little flustered.
Yeah.
He did not do well. Listen, it happens. Okay?
Well, here's the question.
Okay, Rubio completely screwed up a couple weeks ago. Now everybody has a great debate. Trump got a lot of pressure and didn't do well. Will that translate to the polls and the nomination? I doubt it. Okay? But he did not do well this time around.
So you don't think this debate will have any influence on Donald Trump?
I don't think anything will. Okay?
Wow.
Like he said, he can shoot somebody in Fifth Avenue and not get affected. He can kill his own mother and people still love him. Honestly. It's remarkable. You know why? Because he'll win the nomination only on the fact that he's not a politician.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. He's not a politician.
Do you think, let me ask you this, if Trump wasn't in the race, would Ted Cruz be the outsider candidate that
Yes.
everyone, that a lot of the Trump fans would be rallying behind?
Yes, absolutely. The conservatives are splitting the votes between Trump and Cruz. And people don't trust establishment like Rubio, Jeb, etc., etc. So they will go to Ted Cruz, who's been fighting Washington, but who's more of an outsider than him.
So will the coalescing behind Rubio in terms of establishment support, Beltway supporters, will all that coalescing in energy, all that Jeb energy, all that establishment energy, all that Romney energy that's going right behind Marco Rubio, do you think that's enough to counter the conservative revolutions in the Cruz and Trump camp?
No, I don't think so.
Not even in the Cruz camp.
Maybe in the Cruz, because he's splitting that with Trump. Because a lot of people say I like Trump, but Cruz might be my second pick. Or they went from Cruz to Trump. You know, you went from an outsider to even more of an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going more to the outside, not the inside. You know, they're not going to compromise and come to the middle. They're going to say, you know what? Cruz isn't more of an outsider. He's a politician. I don't trust politicians. Let's go with the non-politician of Donald Trump.
That's it.
If they only had one choice, they have to go with the furthest one into the outside, which happened to be Cruz.
Say what you want, but it's got to be pretty cool to think of Donald Trump at the negotiating table with Putin.
Oh my goodness!
I could just see that go. That's like that's an SNL skit. All right, when we return into the Vito and Vito show, we are talking about Tuesday right here.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
So what is behind enemy lines anyway?
This is the true story of two friends living in the People's Republic of New York City who work together and have their conversations taped to find out what happens when conservatives stop being politically correct and start getting real. We are Behind Enemy Lines. Watch your wallets. Thursdays at 1 on WNJC, part of the Conservative Commandos radio network.
Back here at the Vito and Vito show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Newest articles, past episodes, and some other cool things as well up at vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito show. Come on. Join the fun. You're going to love it. Vito and Vito headed to CPAC next week. We're going to give you live coverage down there over at CPAC. It's going to be a lot of fun. Check out, like we said, our social media at Vito and Vito show. For more information on where you can find us down at CPAC. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love CPAC. It's my favorite time of the year. But I do have to talk about the Super Tuesday polls. The Super Tuesday issue and vote that's coming up, Vito. Who do you think is going to be the runaway candidate on a Super Tuesday? First of all, before we go any further, I just want to I want to go over the list of states that are up for contention. I believe you have the list in front of you, Mr. DiGiovanni?
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. We'll just wait for you. We'll just sit here and wait.
The states, again, like I mentioned before. Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Georgia, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, Alaska, Wyoming.
I want to break it down each and every state. Let's start with Georgia, number 1. What's the problem? What?
Who's going to win Georgia?
Very good. And let me explain the polls. You're flailing your arms back. I wish we had a camera on you. I mean, I don't know. Is it because they went out of order? Is that it?
Yeah, because I don't know what to expect.
Okay, so, we'll save Georgia for when you're ready. What state do you want to go with?
Right, let's so alphabetical order, Alabama.
Okay, Alabama. Oh, my God. You just look at some. I'm on the Real Clear Politics right now, and you just look at some of these polling. No average poll, well, no recent poll has been done yet of Alabama, and I doubt it's going to be done before Tuesday. So we'll just say the most recent poll is from 8/11 to 12/13. So August 11th to December 13th. I don't know what they're doing in Alabama. Like, these people don't want to go ahead and poll. But let's just go ahead and assume that these people are pretty much in the same spot they were from August to December. It's a pretty big jump. But the Real Clear Politics average has Donald Trump at 32.5%, Marco Rubio at 11.5%, Carson 11.5%, Cruz at 11%. Trump has a 21-plus point spread. Okay? Who's going to win Alabama if you have to put your money on it?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. I mean, I don't see where he would struggle.
I mean, you put my money on it.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump taught me anything about money.
What's the next state, Vito, you want to pull?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Right, let's take a look at Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. This one was done, the most recent poll, on February 4th. Cruz at 27%, Donald Trump at 23%, Marco Rubio at 23%, Carson at 11%, Kasich at 4%, not to mention the come-from-behind candidates that we should be watching. Carly Fiorina at 4%, Jeb Bush at 1%, and Chris Christie at 1%.
How old are these polls?
This is from February 4th.
Okay, only 3 weeks ago.
All right, so it's one of the more recent polls as opposed to some polls being done in August.
Everything's relative, right?
But what do you think, Vito? Ted Cruz is the 4-point spread here.
Over Trump?
Over Trump and Rubio at 23. Is Cruz going to take Arkansas? I think he will. I'll give this one to Ted Cruz. I think he has a pretty good ground game out in Arkansas. You'd be surprised. And I would look at Ted Cruz and say to myself that he is the guy that you should be watching for in Arkansas. I think he's going to win Arkansas. I think he's going to win Texas as well. We'll get to that in just a second. But, Vito, what do you think? You seem to dispute me.
I think Trump's going to win it.
Why?
Because I can only see Ted Cruz winning Texas.
You think it's that big of a momentum that he's going to take almost everything in the South?
I think, but I can see Cruz coming in second and splitting delegates at least in maybe Arkansas.
Well,
or a couple of the states.
Well, let's keep one thing very clear right now. I just want to say this right now. Alabama, that's 50 delegates. It's proportional, and it's an open primary in Alabama. Arkansas, 40 delegates, proportional, open primaries. It's hard to tell, man. It really is hard to tell. But ultimately, I think that right at this point, it's Ted Cruz that's going to win Arkansas. You say Donald Trump. What's the next one, Vito?
Colorado.
The state of legalized pot. The nearest poll being done from November 11th to November 15th. Ben Carson winning in Colorado. 25%. Rubio at 19%. Trump at 17%. Cruz at 14%. What do you think?
Trump.
Yeah, I think Trump will take Colorado. I don't see why not. I mean, it's Donald Trump. I don't see why not. Again, for those of you who think, where are we getting these polls from, we're pulling them from last year's newspaper. So, no, we're taking it from the realclearpolitics.com, so it's pretty much all up on the website. The next state I want to go through is Minnesota. Minnesota, Vito, the most recent poll has Donald Trump at 18%. Marco Rubio, 23% in Minnesota. Ben Carson at 11%. Ted Cruz at 21%. And John Kasich at 2%. So watch out for Kasich. Vito, what do you think here?
And when was the last time these polls were out?
This was done on the most recent was January 20th. So I'm going to give Minnesota to Rubio. I think he'll take Rubio. Minnesota. I think
You're going to give a state to Rubio?
Yeah, I think he'll take it because Minnesota is relatively more of a moderate state. But what do you think?
If it's more of a moderate state, I can see Trump taking just like New Hampshire.
Really? I don't know. I don't think he's going to take this now. I don't think so. I think it will be Marco Rubio that'll take Minnesota. Massachusetts, on the other hand, is a pretty moderate state, and if you look at the most recent polls from February 21st, Marco Rubio at 16%, Donald Trump 50%. Ted Cruz at 10%, not to mention Ben Carson's come from behind victory over at 2%, so watch out for him. John Kasich got 13%. Who do you think will win Massachusetts?
The guy in 50%.
There you go. Donald Trump.
Half the votes.
I don't see that's a contentious race. Oklahoma. I want to go through this really quickly. The most recent poll, February 23rd. Donald Trump at 29, Cruz at 20, Rubio at 21. Who's going to win Oklahoma?
Trump.
I think, Trump. I can't go where else he can go from here. So it's Donald Trump over in Oklahoma. Tennessee, Vito. Tennessee, the home of something. Over up in Tennessee. The home of country music.
Elvis.
Thank you there,
Was
Mr.
Elvis
Producer. Huh?
Where's Elvis born?
Elvis was born in Nashville. Graceland. Where's Graceland? Is it Tennessee? I don't know. We're not very big. I love Elvis. I just don't know where he's born.
No,
the point is,
Mississippi.
all right, Mississippi.
Sorry.
All right. I'll let you know when their primary is.
But he lived there. He lived in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. I lived there for a couple of years. Yeah. Those are the years of my life. That's when I grazed cattle.
Great. Who's winning it, Vito?
It's going to be... Let's take a look here. This is the most recent poll. November 23rd. Trump at 29. Carson 25. Cruz at 14. Rubio at 12. I think
and
Trump
what was this poll?
This is from November 23rd. I think Trump will
Jesus.
take Tennessee. But I don't see where Trump will shift in any of these things. I think it's ultimately up to...
I think
general
Cruz
trend
is
of the
going to
country.
take Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you're pulling that one out of you. Let's go to Georgia right now. Here's a relatively recent poll. February 23rd, Trump at 37, Rubio at 21, Cruz at 18. In Georgia.
Trump. I mean, Cruz has been dropping over there.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's been struggling up in Georgia. That's 76 delegates. I believe it's proportional. It is. It is proportional with open primaries. So that's up there as well. The question is, if you can get close to Donald Trump, you're able... If it's as close, like 37 to 30 or something like that, if you're able to get pretty close to Trump, you're able to siphon away a lot more delegates. And then it depends also where you finish the congressional districts, but that's up for debate. Vito, Texas. This is the big one. Donald Trump, as of February 24th, at 26%. Cruz at 34%. Rubio at 18%. Cruz has a 7.2 average spread over Donald Trump. Do you think Cruz will take Texas?
Yes, Cruz is taking.
I think he will, and if he does take Texas, I have to say he has to win big in order to actually give him a run for his money. Ultimately, Vito, it comes down to this. If Donald Trump could do what he does and finish somehow, some way close to the first place winner, it's not going to be as big of a loss. If Ted wins Texas and wins pretty big, like 7-8 points, then we're talking a pretty much big defeat on the part of Donald Trump going down, because that means a lot of delegates in a heavy delegate state is going to suffer. I wish we could talk more about this stuff. If Vito's rushing me to get to this thing we call the Forget About It moments of the week. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Forget about it?
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Paul, forget about it.
Forget About It moments of the week here on the Vito and Vito Show. Vito breaks down some of the craziest moments in our history. Our history being the past week. So Vito, we don't have a lot of time, so go ahead and wrap this up. What's the first Forget About It moment?
Cinder Block Comedy Festival in New York City is charging straight white men more money because of gender equality.
Jesus. Here is a transvestite we have in the studio as we speak. Her name is Claudia. All right. For those of you who don't know, we call that person Sal. Sal's our intern here on the Vito and Vito Show. We like to just mess with him. Sal, you're not a transvestite, are you? No, Sal's not a transvestite, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We were going to get some diversity here on the show. I find them to be ridiculous. It's funny how discrimination works the opposite way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could be racist and you could discriminate against white males, but you cannot discriminate against lonely interns. That's our next Forget About It moment.
A couple NFL teams during the Combine, like the Falcons, were asking players if they find their mother attractive.
With some Freudian experiment?
They even asked Des Bryant a couple years ago when he first was at the Combine if your mother was ever a prostitute. So, Vito, to play NFL football, do you find your mother attractive?
Very.
Good, me too. Your mother.
This is what they ask college players to play football?
Yeah.
Explain to me what the hell this has to do with catching a football or tackling a 400-pound man.
Listen, if you have the Oedipus complex.
I don't understand. If you have the Oedipus complex, that's good. Because you could picture the opponent as your father.
That's sick.
And you could just go and tackle him for your mother's affection. I encourage you all to look up the Oedipus complex.
Whatever
Freud,
wins the games.
Okay, but, this is what they ask people at the Combine.
Yeah.
This is why football is the sick sport. You see, I'm not a football fan. I know you are.
Yes, I do.
I used to play and everything.
Yep.
You're much more into football than I am. Like, you
football.
could tell plays and all that. I hate football. I have to be the most anti-American person when it comes to football. But I love baseball.
You're so anti-American.
I love baseball. Baseball's America's pastime, not football. Football's
At least
made
you
of
have something.
Football's a geometrically challenged ball that you throw and tackle. It's sick. We need more baseball. We need year-round baseball. That's what we need. Now, hockey's Canadian. Hockey
So Cruz.
Yes, very good. Our
Speaking-
intern is leaving to Canada if Hillary wins the presidency.
Great.
Very good.
Sal is fleeing the country if Hillary wins, and our last forget about it is Al Sharpton said he will leave the country if Donald Trump wins.
And where is he going?
Doesn't know, but he will be gone.
He will
Which
be-
actually might sway my vote now.
He will be going to Donut Land, if I have to say.
There you go.
I think that I could see Al Sharpton gaining another 30 to 45 pounds if Donald Trump becomes president.
Keeps
The
eating?
stress that he would just keep eating. I find that funny. Now, hey, there is also a picture of Donald Trump and Al Sharpton shaking hands. I know it's been going around some different campaigns and whatnot.
Yeah, but he's a businessman, Vito.
Come on. Listen, we got to sign off right now on the Vito and Vito Show. Check us out next week in Brooklyn.
It's nothing but the truth.